Hello, hello.
Hello, beautiful.
How you doing?
Good. Excited for this call.
Aw, good.
I don't know if you guys can see me or not. My freaking computer hasn't worked all day.
Cannot see you. Hi, bitch.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Good. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, I think we just need Chloe
Oh,
and Lainey. Is she getting on this?
and Jenna.
Lainey is in bed already,
Mm,
but I told her that Tyler would most likely record the call.
I'm already recording it.
I can record.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
You guys hear my washing machine?
Barely, yeah.
Yeah.
So fucking annoying.
Ours
Especially
used to be
for...
so much louder than that.
Mm.
Well, we're waiting for Chloe. I'm gonna hop on my phone because I really don't know why my video hasn't been working.
Ooh,
So I'm gonna hurry and hop
here
on
she
while my
is. Okay.
Oh.
Jenna should be on any minute. Oh. There we go. Hello, we can see you now, babe.
I just did an entire call with Tyler and my girl to onboard her, and my video hasn't been working. I really hope my laptop isn't broken.
Fuck. Should we wait for Jenna? I mean, I don't mind it at all. Hi, Chloe. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay. Day by day. Nubs. All right, I think we'll start at the 5-minute mark. So, about a minute. Is that okay? Okay. I'm excited. Been working on this all day.
Proud.
Thank you. It's kept me up at night in a good way, though. Oh, there we go. Here she is. Hi, Jenna.
Hello.
Alrighty, guys. Are we ready? Okay. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. And to match the theme of the call, I didn't put my teeth in today, so you guys are seeing me as I am. Okay. All right, can you see it? Okay. Alrighty, guys. First off, thank you for showing up. I'm really excited. I hope you all learned something. There's some questions that I'm going to ask you, as well as some things that I'd like us to discuss as a group, if possible, and get your thoughts on. And please feel free to interrupt me. I really don't mind, but if you want to, you can comment in the chat. So that's totally fine. All right, I'm going to be going over how you can practice vulnerability in your business, use your resilience to fail forward, and how inspiration follows suit. I'm going to start just by sharing with you guys my story, kind of my background and what led me to where I am now. So I was born in Provo, Utah. I'm actually one of 3. I'm a triplet with 2 boys, and I have an older sister. So I'm one of 4, and I'm really close to my family. I kind of had a traumatic childhood. My parents had a seriously painful and fucked up divorce. I moved back and forth from state to state, but eventually I settled down back in Utah when I was 17. I graduated high school and I got my degree in English. And then I got married for the first time. And that lasted about a year and a half. And I got divorced at 23 years old. And then 2 months later, I went on a date with my now husband, and we eloped a year later. And he moved to Cedar City to go to school here, and then I just kind of followed suit about 6 months later. So we did the long distance thing, and finally we've settled down in our own place here, and it's finally a really good, healthy relationship for me. And then I tried to go back to school last semester and get my bachelor's, and it just didn't work out. It wasn't for me. And I was really fucking hard on myself. I felt like a failure, and I got really depressed. And I kept watching Tyler, and I just kept thinking, what if I tried? And then finally the thought like couldn't leave my head. I couldn't stop really thinking about it. And that's when I signed up. So here I am, 25, and in a good place. And I'm happy to be here with you all. These are the questions that I have for you. It's not necessarily questions that I need you to share your answers. It's just, I want you to understand how you feel moving forward. Moving forward with this presentation in life, I want you to understand how you feel with in regard to these questions. So 1, what does vulnerability feel like to you? This doesn't necessarily mean when was the last time you were vulnerable, or how, what I just want to know when the last time you were vulnerable, if you remember, if you can think of it, how did it make you feel? What emotions does it stir up? And I'll give you just a second. And then my next question, I want you to think about, in what ways have you been resilient? This isn't asking what's caused you to be resilient or what you went through that made you resilient. I want you to think back to a time where you chose to be resilient and how you did that. In what ways did you do that? Recognizing your strengths and your coping mechanisms, pretty much. And then the last question, not necessarily something you have to write down or anything, but you definitely can. I just want you to think about how in the past you've reacted to those emotions that were caused when you were vulnerable or when you were resilient, just how you reacted. It might be the same emotions, it might not. But how did it make you feel to do that on your own? Okay, guys, I'm gonna move on. Does anyone want any more time? I don't mind. Okay. Alrighty, babes. I want to start with kind of a new mantra that I've had recently, something that really influenced this PowerPoint and this presentation. I think that part of being vulnerable means having compassion for yourself. And earlier in the week, I heard Isabel Sanchez during her training call say, "Done is better than perfect." And it stuck with me, especially because the beginning of the week was so hard for me. On Monday, I felt so off. I had such a lack of motivation. I was scared of all these what ifs. What if I fail? What if I can't do this? But then I let Monday's shittiness actually turn into fuel for an honest and real video about why I joined Monat, and I put it on my Instagram. And I just remembered that, and I'm going to read this to you, but I want you to think of it in terms of your own self. I'm a real person who's I'm a real person who's allowed to have real emotions and hard days while still working towards a greater future. I'm not always going to be upbeat. I'm not always going to sound smart or look put together, but I will be myself and I will show up. And that's what I wrote for myself. And I thought, that goes for everyone. Everyone can relate to that. Everyone feels that. And we all understand that, and that's what we're striving towards. Now, how resilience and vulnerability comes into play when you're showing up every damn day. For some people, the demand to show up, regardless of how they look or feel, is enough to make them quit. But for others, this is when the resilience kicks in. You still show up, you still learn, you still continue moving forward despite the failures. And I heard, this week I heard Vic say that your comeback should be greater than your setback. And that's how it will be, is if you're resilient. And that's really what it comes down to, is you have to be resilient enough to show up every damn day and be vulnerable enough to show up not as someone else, but as yourself. Even when you don't like yourself, even when you think you could have done better, even when you're disappointed and you've had a shitty fucking day, even when life is going wrong, you still show up as you. And maybe you're wondering, well, why would I do that? I can just pretend I'm not going through anything. I can just be chill. You say I'm fine. This is why. If you don't show the real you, how can people feel a connection to you or build a relationship with you that's meaningful to you and your business? This is kind of where I wanted to open up the floor and hear what you guys had to say. If you agree, if you don't agree, why? Because I felt fucking passionate about this when I wrote it. Like, seriously. If you don't tell people who you are, why are they going to care? Like that's all you have. And that all you have is who you are, and who you are is enough. And if you don't show yourself, if you don't expose yourself, if you don't get vulnerable, then other people can't feel close to you. They can't feel inspired by you. And you need to have those connections, because that's how you're going to build a relationship with all the people you're reaching out to. And that's when it's going to become meaningful to you and the success of your business. What do y'all think?
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
100% also agree.
Like,
Good
I
lad.
have tried, even with girls that are already in Monat, I've tried to connect with them, even if they're not like from our downline or whatever. Like, I feel like I've tried to connect with girls in the business, and I have been unsuccessful because I do feel like they're kind of putting up a front a little bit. Like, they just kind of are like robotic almost. Like, it's always glitz and glam, and it's never like those days where, like, you know, you expose a disability you have, or you expose anxiety or depression or like whatever you're feeling. And then you have people like Chloe, where it's like Chloe's real as fuck. Chloe talks about her struggles and what she's going through. And then I have felt the most connected to Chloe, for an example, as like, you know, someone else that's in Monat but isn't like on our team specifically. Chloe's like the only person I've really ever connected with outside of our team, because she is fucking real.
That's good. That's
So I
good.
think it is important, because I don't want to talk to the girl that's fucking glitz and glam and Chanel and fucking margaritas and fancy fucking everything's perfect bullshit. Like, I don't want to talk to that person, because that's not my life. Like, I'm not living it all fucking glamorous and shit. Like, I'm going through real shit still. Like, of course I like those things, but like, no, it's not reality.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
When
glad-
I've shared about my depression on my story, I've had more people reach out to me and like build relationship by being like talking about my shit. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Being vulnerable.
Being real and being yourself, like,
Oh, I think we lost her. Oh. Oh, dang it.
sorry, my internet is so shitty.
You were saying being real and being yourself.
And like speaking on things that, like, I literally talk to Instagram most days like it's my best friend. And people see that, and people want to hang out with you. People want to get to know you better. they like reach out to you about literally anything, because if they didn't like you, they probably wouldn't follow you. And so like they follow you for a reason, and they want to see you. They want to see you grow. They want to see you be yourself. And so I think it's really important to show up as the real you all the time.
Oh, that's beautiful. I really like that. Talk to Insta like it's your best friend. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I do that shit too. Like I just talk to Instagram about like my little shit. I guess I don't really share a lot of like my personal deep rooted stuff just because it's still like something I'm trying to deal with, and it's something that just brings up a whole lot more emotion than I want it to. And I'm just trying to be a happy pregnant wife, and sometimes it's just not realistic, and I struggle every day, and sometimes it's just really hard to like get on camera and talk about it because I don't know if there's enough time in the day to really go into depth about how I'm really feeling. But I do talk about like stuff that frustrates me throughout the day, like just being an adult, and I'm kind of over it, but I don't really get into my deep rooted problems because it's super hard to talk about.
Yeah, and that's something to keep in mind is it's all within reason. It's all within your own boundary and what you feel comfortable sharing and what knowledge people are worthy of knowing about you. But leading to my next point, if there's anything we should be vulnerable and open about, it's this business. Because, I mean, this business makes you uncomfortable, right? We're all doing new things every day. Vulnerability makes you uncomfortable too. It's the same thing. And we all learn every day. This business makes us stronger and wiser because every day we get rejected or we learn something we didn't know. And that's resilience. Resilience makes you stronger and wiser because resilience is what got you through, right? And it goes hand in hand. I don't really feel like you can have one without the other, in terms of how successful you can be in this business. But I'm new. My perspective might change, but this is just where I'm at right now. But really, ladies, I want you to, if anything, take away from this PowerPoint to be vulnerable with yourself. In doing this, you can create a safe space within your own head, within your own body, and be open to how you feel, no matter what those emotions are. Because I think we all know that if you don't open yourself up to your emotions will win every time. Your emotions will fight you every day to get to the surface and will fuck you up until you let it. And what it means to be vulnerable with yourself is to listen to how you feel, no matter what it is, even if you don't want to feel those emotions. And that's why you have to be honest with yourself and those around you in what your boundaries are. When you do this, it ensures that you have a support system full of people who truly care about you and respect your boundaries. And this is going to help you achieve your highest potential. Because you won't have people taking away from your energy, people taking away from your effort, people draining you, people that stress you out. You're not going to have that if you ensure that your boundaries are in place and respected. But you cannot really say what your boundaries are without being open and vulnerable. Sure, you can be closed off and offensive and attack the other person and blame them, but really the best course of action is going to just be honest with yourself and with anyone else around you. Give yourself grace. You're okay. Like, you're okay where you're at. You're okay how you're dealing with things. You're okay with your appearance. You are okay. You are wonderful. And if you're struggling, work on changing your perspective. These are some, I would say, kind of negatives in life, maybe words that have a stigma attached to them. And I thought about how I can change my perspective on these things. For example, having a mental breakdown, I really believe that that's just a spiritual awakening. It needed to happen. You needed to deal with something that you weren't. The whole point of changing your perspective is so that you no longer feel guilt about your own self and your own actions. If you feel like you've had failures in life, those are not failures, they're lessons learned. Because you're smart enough to learn from them. I know you are. And if you've gone through loss, whether it's a person, a pet, a place, a future with someone, anything, really what that gave you was a newfound appreciation of the things you still have. Discomfort is actually a growth opportunity. And that is a beautiful way to look at it. Vulnerability seems scary and it's tough, but that is your invitation to others to connect with you and for you to connect with them. It's what connects us as humans, really. Obviously I know not everyone will feel the same way, but for me, shame has created a deepened sense of compassion for myself and for others. I'm never going to judge because I've fucked up too. I've fucked up so hard. And I felt shame about so many decisions that I made. But at the end of it, I got through it by focusing on the compassion that it gave me. And lastly, I know a lot of us as women struggle with insecurity. And I invite you to think of that as an openness to change. Do you see yourself as you are? And you see improvements that you could make? But you are good as you on your own. I think it's just a way of being open with yourself about things you may want to change or need to change. Don't think that there's anything wrong with you, though. This is my last slide, and this is my biggest message. When we are vulnerable, we are showing ourselves and others the strength that comes from fragility and the inspiration that comes from being real rather than perfect. That's what makes you relatable and memorable. That's what makes you inspirational. That's it, my loves.